Do a quick mic check here. Okay, let's try that again. Is it cut off? Um, let's see. I'm getting a error now. That's not good. Okay, I think it fixed itself. Well, we'll give it a try and see what happens because doesn't seem to be anything I can actually do about it. Hello. Make sure this is in place. Need to a little distorted at the moment, so I need to fix that. Sorry, I try not to do this live on stream, but sometimes scheduling just is what it is. Trying to get this exactly square and exactly in proportion is surprisingly more difficult than you might think. All right, I think that is close. We'll leave it at that. All right, sorry about that. How's everyone doing today? Why am I still getting errors? Um, is the stream not healthy at the moment? My OBS says everything's okay. Why is it saying it's not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth stream? I don't understand what's going on. We'll see. Maybe it'll what's it called? Even itself out. Because I don't know what's going on. Anyways. Well, I'll be working on this painting some more today, obviously. Back to the plastic. Although at this point, it's even though it's technically still plastic, I mean it's covered in oil paint, so it's like any other oil painting where you're painting on oil, like dried oil paint. So, all right, there we go. Super confused about the notifications I'm getting though on my stream. Anyone who's watching, if you're in chat, please let me know if you're having any problems with the stream. All right, let's see. Oh, it is still very wet. That's good. Uh, Probably because it's on plastic. The plastic is non-absorbent, so um, that's one of the advantages or disadvantages, depending on how you paint, of a non-absorbent surface. Uh, yeah, it's well, I mean, it is porous because I sanded it, so it's got a texture to it, but that only goes so deep. So because it's yeah, because of that, it doesn't absorb. It's non-absorbent, so it doesn't absorb any of the oil, so it dries slower. Which personally, I love, with one exception, which is when I have a tight deadline and I need something to be ready in time. You know, with that exception, I love it. By the way, Cassandra, if you could do me a favor, um, can you check out my YouTube stream? Let me know if uh, if it's having any issues because I'm getting all kinds of notifications from it, but every time I check it, it looks fine to me. So it's hard. It's kind of hard to tell. Thanks, I appreciate that. One of those things. Sometimes you just need a second pair of eyes. Stuff like this. Oh, okay. Alrighty. So I'm just cleaning off some brushes so that I can paint with them. I'm trying a new thing with my brushes, new relatively speaking, where I soak them in mineral oil which is a huge no in one sense, which is you don't want any mineral oil. Um, the audio is okay, the video is okay. Wonder what it is. Was so mad, but yeah, I don't know. It was saying that it wasn't getting enough data, like bit rate, but I'm looking at my bit rate and it hasn't changed, and I'm just like confused. So whatever. Like what? I don't know. Anyways, I'm soaking all my brush, not all. I'm soaking the brushes that I'm using right now in mineral oil, and you don't want to get any mineral oil in your painting because it never dries, and that's bad. So um, what I do now is I clean my brushes um, before I start painting to get all the mineral oil out of them, so that I can start painting and not be worried about it getting into my painting. Thank you very much for checking. I appreciate that. But yeah, I just only thing now is I need a an electric sander so that I can sand big sheets of the plastic, and then I think I'll start buying. Okay, seems yeah, I see your message now on YouTube. Seems okay. Sorry, I must have missed it before. It's a problem with too many chats. And then before I start painting on this, I wanted to look at this and see if it's still wet. So this is the shiny paint. Um, I want to see if it's still wet because it's very weird looking. All right, hold on. What do you mean audio is off for you two? Do you have your audio turned off? Or is the audio okay? Like I was asking because I was having issues with the audio. Okay, this is still wet, so I can't really judge the colors of the what's it called? The interference paint. But it's looking really cool. It's very sparkly, which is I want to see how this and this dry, because these are two major things about it, depending on how the colors mix and dry. That's what's important to me. Okay, you have sound on now, but you're turning off your sound. Got it. Okay. Oh, Dresden. Hi, baby boy. Say hello. Are you sleepy? You look out of it, little boy. I think he's tired. Yeah. Okay, I'll put you down. He's so cute. Yeah, I think he's sleepy. I don't know what's going on. I wish cats were like dogs in the sense that you could bring cats over to play and hang out with other cats. Like you can do play dates with dogs. I wish you could do that with cats. But they're not as good at it. I think one that's one of the things that's hilarious about cats is they act like the king of the world, and then the smallest thing is out of place or different, and that's it. They can't handle like I don't know, if God forbid you move or take them someplace new, and they're just like, "What the hell is this? This is not my kingdom. How dare you? You're planning on murdering me, aren't you?" Like that's their mentality. Prey animals can be neurotic. I mean, that's the thing. They're both, right? They're prey and insane predators. So it makes for an odd combination. Okay, apparently I can't really use this to draw anymore because it's oh wait, I can. I just have to press a little harder. Michelle says we can make it happen. Let's start small, take them out more. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they enjoy that. I think once they're adults, I think it's too late. I could be wrong, but I get the feeling that once they're mature, it's too late. If you wanted to have a cat that goes out, you need to do it earlier, unfortunately. Hey Des, good to see you. How you doing? Glad you could make the stream. Me too. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Oh, this is mostly dry. Okay then. Jeez. So yeah, this is the ABS panel. At this point, it looks like every other panel, but a lot of it is still wet because it's non-absorbent. So um, that's um, a cool aspect to it if you want your paints to dry slower, which I generally, with a few exceptions, do. Not including the most recent, you know, issue I had with that. But generally, yeah, I want my paintings to dry slower. How was the how is the desert? It's wait, is it in the desert? It's out in the middle of nowhere. That I remember. This brush is fraying way more than I realized. Right now, I'm just trying to do some minor corrections here and there for placement. I should mention, in case anybody watches this stream uh, after the fact, but recently, this is the last couple days to sign up for my workshop, which starts on Saturday. So coming down to the wire, if anybody wanted to sign up, was thinking about it, now is the time. The 4-week workshop, and it's called No Fear Painting, and yeah, that's about it. There's more information on my website. Check it out. It's by a lake. Ah, I see. It's in a forest, the dome. Okay. Got those confused. You don't have a desert, thick forest. Right, right, right. I just remember it being out in the middle of nowhere. Desert, lake, whatever. My brain just said, it's out there. That's enough detail. You had to return early because your sister's son had to have an emergency appendix surgery. Oh, that sucks. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope he's okay. I'm assuming it's a relatively, um, what's it called? A safe procedure if done on time. He's good now. He's up and walking around pretty normal after surgery. So, all right, that's good. I had the not nearly as bad as having emergency surgery, but I went to the dentist today, which honestly the appointment itself not bad at all. The news not great, but the appointment was fine. So you know it is what it is. By the way, Des says, by the way, I forgot to tell you, they are going to try and get the mayor of our city to sit for the portrait for that project, and they will want me to do it. How That's amazing. Congratulations, Des. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Gary, you'll be fine. I've seen your portraits. You're fine. Just take photos. Don't try and, you know, like I know that when someone sits, it's like um the connotation is that they're going to sit for the whole portrait, but like, you don't actually have to do that. But that's amazing. I'm really happy for you. That's great. All right. Now it's going to be photos. Good. Good. Yeah, you don't want the pressure of like having to get it right on the spot kind of thing. I actually was looking into doing portraits of people that are, in government or, local council or whatever it is. Um, and not by anybody that like that I was applying for. I wasn't applying for anything. I was just looking into it. And an artist friend of mine basically told me that that would be great, but you need to, talking to me, I need to change my style up to do more like traditional portraits, because right now, uh, basically no one would accept my paintings for portraits. Now, whether or not that's true is, debatable, especially with like, uh, some of the recent, like famous portraits. But you never know. Most likely, she's right. Charles, yeah, or is it Charlie? I can't even remember. What's it? Actually, wait, no, is it Charles? Which am I getting that? Damn, I can't remember which king he is. Oh, whatever. But yeah, but so there's been a few of them. Charles, you're just giving him. Yeah, yeah. No, my brain just like completely lost the plot though. It's just like I don't even remember what his name is. Yeah, yeah. So you never know. People might want weird looking portraits now. Who knows? But generally, I assume they don't. But yeah, now that I'm done with my now that I'm done with that charity thing and everything, I think one of the next things I'll be working on is doing a couple very traditional looking paintings, on the side when I have time. This says I'm going to start on a new guy from the project. I wanted to do a different one, but my sister has already started him. Well, at least she's getting started. right? He's doing some kind of paper collage. Interesting. I mean, that can be really cool. If you saw the episode of Portrait Artist of the Year, the collage that the person did of the guy we painted, I can't even remember his name right now. That was pretty cool. This is the second painting of this model I've done, and her nose is really kind of pointed up. This time the lighting's good. Last time I painted her, the lighting was not very good, and it made my life uh, very difficult. One thing about this reference that I already regretting, and I'm going to have to find a creative way around, is this and this. Like, okay, this is chainmail of some sort, and this is a crown that she's wearing with a chain. I'm like, I am not painting all that detail, every individual. I'm not doing that. Are you, Des, are you going to paint him in acrylics or oils? Do you have a plan? I'm not even suggesting digital because there's no way you should paint him in digitally at all. like not even remotely. Oils is some medium for drying, no longer like working in acrylic if I can avoid it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like almost everybody I know who works in oil in acrylics and goes to oils says something kind of similar to that. You need the Mayor photos as soon as possible. Yeah. Yeah, there's almost no one I know who's I'm trying to think. I don't think I know a single artist who has gone from oils to acrylic. With the exception of people who like take a long break and then go back to it and do it for, reasons of like convenience or whatever. But I don't know a single artist who's like does a smooth transition over. I don't think. I'm sure it's happened. I'm just saying like, personally. I will say this does, as long as you don't paint thick, like go in thick, if you use fast drying mediums, it dries really, really fast. Not acrylic fast, but fast. There are people who have had reactions to the oil paints, so they go to acrylics, but I'm not one of them. I I mean, I'm sure there's like one or two exceptions. Like honestly, people have had issues with the oils. My assumption is that they've had issues with the mediums or solvents. And the reality is you don't have to use those when you paint with oils, but a lot of people think you do. But if you want a fast drying medium that is um, solvent free, Mgram makes one. In case you weren't aware of it, they make a fast drying oil, walnut oil. They also make regular walnut oil, so make sure you get the right one. Yeah, a lot of people, uh, I've heard people say that they've had issues with oils, but um, you know, like negative reactions to it. But usually it's the solvents, it's not the oil itself. Some people are like allergic to it or something, but it's very rare because it's just, flaxseed oil and you're not eating it. So, you know, like it's not that common. And generally, if you're not using solvents, then oil paint doesn't actually. I mean, I'm sure that there's. Um, they also put. I heard they put some kind of aluminum um, in the paint to help it be stable, but generally, it doesn't really have much of a smell or give off like off gas. So, anyways. I saw a video once where someone was saying that She removed the video actually, but she did a video saying that like oil paints are, um, they were more toxic, and she is like claiming that oil paints are a what's it called? A petroleum byproduct. And it's like, okay, no, they are not. The solvents might be some of them, but oil paint is it's a vegetable oil that dries. It's not a petroleum byproduct. But like I said, the person who made that video removed it, so whatever. Hey, someone told them. Generally, I've said this before. I leave the eyes for the end, um, and I will leave most of these for the end. But I do want to get in some of the values because right now, and it's throwing everything off. So I'm just putting in the values. Maybe a little too strong, but it's all right. He has very striking eyes. That says I want to do some painting on wood panels. I want the grain to stay, so I think I have to get clear gesso. Yeah, yes, you do. And you need to use transparent paint, or you need to thin them down enough. Also, depending on the wood you get, make sure you really scrub in that gesso on the first layer, because wood can be so porous that you can, cover it with the gesso and it doesn't get into the holes, and then when it dries, it actually opens up back those holes because it just covers the surface. Anyways, you probably know that already, but whatever. I have dead air to fill, so I'm just going to make recommendations. Because if I don't talk, then yeah, it's just dead air. And YouTube notifies me that there's not enough audio coming through. You did some reading today, but you didn't know that? Okay. Yeah, it's not guaranteed. It depends on the wood and everything, but better safe than sorry. Just kind of scrub it in there at the first layer. Um, that way, you know, it just helps it get into all the nooks and crannies. That says I used to do some acrylics watered down on wood panels and used it to stain, but never used gesso or anything. Like I said, it really depends on the wood. I've never used clear gesso. I've heard of it. I've never. I don't think I've ever even seen it in person. Um, but yeah, I think it's always been like a little pricier than regular gesso, so it's like, oh, whatever. There's always I, d- I don't know how stable it would be for that, but acrylic matte medium. If it's smooth wood, I would say you could use acrylic matte medium. If it's um, if it's rough wood, I would suggest gesso. Also, I forgot if you like very smooth panels or not, because acrylic matte medium will get you smoother panels. Um, Although you can get really smooth panels with gesso, it's just a lot more work. That says I'm irritated by canvas texture when I'm trying to do fine lines, so I'm going to try other surfaces. I was happy with smoother canvas pad. Yeah, so canvas texture is a funny thing, right? Especially when you're dealing with smaller canvases, it's obviously more pronounced. But something interesting does happen when you go very, I don't want to say very large, but when you go larger, right? And I'm talking like, well, it kind of depends on the subject matter as well, but when you go larger, some texture to the canvas actually makes it easier to do smoother, like, all the, it makes it easier to do smoother paintings, basically, which is kind of counterintuitive. You would think smoother canvases would be better for smooth paintings, and but no, because what happens is when you're working on a very smooth panel, um, you get a lot more brush marks. But when you want to do a very smooth painting, you don't want those brush marks. So having some texture, not too much texture, but some texture is very helpful. Um, Also, having paint that doesn't um, end up showing brush marks is very helpful. If I'm not mistaken, stand oil. I could be wrong, but stand oil is a medium that a lot of people use um, for that type of painting because it's self-leveling. Because it's basically it's got the consistency of like honey, and so what happens is that you put down the brush marks, and you know over time they smooth out on their own before they're finished drawing. Although I'll say I don't know how it works if your paintings, uh, you know, upright. I'm curious. I'm sure it does work. But yeah, very smooth surfaces actually are better for like brushy paintings. Like I said, this isn't 100% accurate because size and the amount of texture also play into that. But yeah, it's like I said, a little counterintuitive on that. I remember back in the day when I was learning digital painting, there was an artist who showed their painting on online, and it was this fantastic painting of like a pirate on a ship, and it looked like the most insanely detailed painting I'd ever seen. And they showed how when they um, when they took off the canvas texture that they had overlaid on the painting, like a huge amount of all that detail just vanished instantly. Don't get me wrong, painting was still a absolutely fantastic painting. But yeah, it was crazy to see how much just that texture that they added on top gave the illusion of detail, even though you know it didn't do any. It wasn't any real detail. But yeah, and you can also see this in like if you use Photoshop. It doesn't have to be Photoshop, but if you do use Photoshop and you trying to make a gradient, um, a smooth gradient, if you get banding because you don't have enough, you know, if it's like an 8-bit photo and you don't have enough colors or variety to make it a smooth transition, if you add noise to it, it can smooth out the banding. So yeah, ironically, texture can actually make surfaces look not surfaces look smoother, but paintings look smoother and more detailed without actually doing either of those things. So completely unrelated to painting, but still very exciting for me. Shadow of the Erd Tree, the Elden Ring expansion came out today. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, Des. See you when you get back. So this what's it called? Um, this red paint is Anacrodon Rose, which is a absolutely beautiful color. I personally think it's really fantastic. But it is transparent or semi-transparent. I can't remember. Let's see. Um, let's say here it does not. Can't remember. Either way. So sometimes you either need to lay down some white and cover it after the fact, or depending on the color you need, you might be able to just mix it close enough. But yeah, it is very pigmented and very strong tinter. So that is a positive. All right. Got to start laying in some of this crown here. There's some design to it, but I am probably going to oversimplify it and just do that because I can't entirely see what the all the design is, and I'm not all that interested in doing all of that detail necessarily. I'm kind of treating it like hair in the sense that I'm putting down the darker color first because I know the light colors are going to go on top of it for the details instead of going in with the darks for the detail, which is usually the approach I take for hair, generally speaking, which makes sense if you think about it because the hair creates shadows. So the base of it is always dark, and then the light color goes on top. Even if it's dark hair, you still you still get that. There's only like some weird exceptions where it's like, I don't know, someone dyed their hair or something, but even then, generally, they'll still be the same thing. I'm just thinking like if someone, dyed their hair black and then their roots are blonde or something, but then I would just segment it out kind of thing and just do that so that you'd have um, what's it called? You'd have, the dark hair and then the blonde hair, and they'd be kind of separated. Um, and I'd do a base for each one. Welcome back, Des. Sorry, I'm a little on the quiet side today. I have been up since 8:30 today. Running around doing stuff, working, uh, dropping off the painting, going to the dentist, just everything. And I don't know. I think I'm just tired. Did drop off the painting. It's mostly dry. Um, there's only a few parts of it that aren't dry. I let them know. They said that they could, you know, be careful with it until it dried. So fingers crossed they will. Yeah. It was like 9% dry. Like there's just a few places where it was the paint was extra thick and it hadn't dried quite yet. It's unfortunate I'm not going to be able to go to the auction in person because it's happening during my class, my first class. So, oh well. It's not the most important thing to be there for it, obviously. Like, but it would have been nice. So this is all silver, but like I said, it's chainmail, so I'm treating it like hair, which I should have done in the beginning instead of putting any silver down, but I didn't really think about it. So, okay, by putting down dark color first, I only have to paint the light parts, not the everything. Boo, that I'm not going to be there in person. Yeah, it's all right. I'm sure a lot of the people who did artwork for it aren't going to be there. Just because of scheduling. Like, I'm sure. Yeah, the most important part is that it's going to help out. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hopefully the weather cooperates a little bit with the auction too, because I think it's what's it called? It's out at a brewery because it's Austin, so of course it's at a brewery. Um, So hopefully, the weather, you know, is good. There are a glut of breweries, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Austin, but they love their breweries here. That's for sure. And what I'm surprised about is how much like there are events and stuff at breweries, right? Like it's not just so I back in the day I worked at Anheuser-Busch at the brewery in LA in Van Nuys. They have a brewery out there. Um, so I worked as a brewer at Anheuser-Busch, but it's basically a it's like a factory pretty much, right? The thing's huge. The place is gigantic. Um, but the breweries here are obviously much smaller. But they also constantly have events at them, which I mean, they're what's it called? Um, like oh my God, my brain. Craft fairs and all kinds of like events like that at these breweries, and I never knew that that was a thing. That's a I don't know, it's an interesting thing to me, not just the breweries, just different places, how different places will have and host different events and things that I never would think about. I'd never think that there would be an event like this at that type of place. Like it, you know, but there are. Um, so just goes to show like like as someone who's moved around a bit, well, quite a bit, has gone from different country, from one country to another, it's very clear to me that like our own experience is very, very like very small, and you know different areas, different places, it can be drastically different. So I don't know, it's just one of those things I notice now or pay attention to. Um, and you see it all the time. I see it all the time in movies and TV shows and stuff, especially where the writers, it's clear that they they're all in their like little bubble, and I can tell that they, don't have a frame of reference for a lot of other things. Oh my god. This is kind of on the same vein as that, but I saw there's some guy who's just trolling people, and it's kind of messed up that he's trolling people because I genuinely, generally I'm not a fan of trolls, but he has all these videos of him in Italy trolling Italian people and pissing them off by doing stuff like breaking pasta or um, putting ketchup on his pizza or folding his pizza in half to eat it. Like, just all kinds of putting ice in his what's it called? Uh, in his wine, stuff like that. And he records the reactions and everything. Like I said, I generally am not a fan of trolls, but I feel like in this case, he's doing it only to himself, sort of. I don't know. Uh, Sandra says, yeah, it can help to have a nice mix of folks in a writer's room. Absolutely. Des says, oh, I saw that troll. Yeah. Like I said, I'm really not a fan of trolls in general, but at least like this guy, he might be trolling people, but he's not doing anything to anybody. They might be offended by it, but at least he's not, attacking or like being active towards anybody. At least. Personally, if you want to eat your pizza with ketchup all over it, go for it. But like, I get it. If you want to put ice in your red wine, what do I care? Go for it. But you know, it doesn't mean much to me culturally. So whatever. Clearly, I'm not the you know the type that will be bothered by that. Blanking on his name. think it's Andrew Kadima. I did a painting of him and I can't remember his name, which I hate. He recently did a short video about his palette. He's the artist who has a palette that like looks like you could like it's a mountain range. It's like all these giant chunks and stuff like that. Like it almost looks like a sculpture of some kind. Um, he recently did a video on his palette. The reason I thought about it is because like people are actually upset with him because of his palette because it like triggers, their whatever OCD or something. And I was thinking of trolls and all that. He recently did a video about his palette. White done streaming, but I'm getting close. I am tired today. It's been a really, really extra long day. Nostril is throwing me off right now. Remedy that. There is a what's it called? Reflected light, but it is way too bright. Starting to come together. I mean, the eyes clearly are not done, but she's starting to get shape. Only issue I run into is when someone has light eyes, it depends on the lighting and the color and everything, but I don't want to put a dark color in there just to hold as a placeholder because it can be harder to put the light color on top of the dark sometimes, um, and to get the luminosity of like a lighter ground, basically, especially in such a small area. And before I go, I also want to remind people that this is pretty much a last opportunity to sign up for my workshop. Um, Details on my website at leod.com. But yeah, this is it starts on Saturday. So last opportunity. All right, friends. Bit of a short stream today. I am just that tired, and I don't know, it seems like a slow night in general. So I am going to have Dresden say goodnight to you all and call it a night. So, Dresden, say goodnight. Sleepy cat, say goodnight. Yeah. I had to wake him up anyways because he was on my chair and I'm going to need my chair. So, you know how it goes. Oh, say goodnight, Dresden. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Oh, look at the belly. Look at the belly.